Kia ora team, in this video I'm going to introduce you to the drawing method of an orthographic projection. Now, an orthographic projection is introducing or presenting a 3D object through 2D views. So here is a list of a few things that is happening with an orthographic projection. There is a plan view, is going to be a top kind of view of an object, and the 2D views are related to one another. Okay, there might be hidden detail that it's going to show through different types of lines, which I'll talk about later, and the views typically are labeled just to help clarify that information, and the information is aligned with one another. So there's projection between the views, that information is aligned. The height, for example, matches up between the views, and that allows for the information in each view to be understood with greater clarity. So this, of course, is just a mug in an orthographic projection, and it is drawn in third angle orthographic projection. So let's have a look at this object here, which is just a cone. And we can look at the very front of this, and because the front surface and the back surface are two circles that are slightly bigger than each other, if we looked at this in 2D, it would be two circles, essentially, the straight on view, and then the side view would show the truncation of the cone and how it's been cut off. So here's a little 2D, or a drawing of it. We want to draw the end and the side, and the way that we put those two 2D views together in a layout decides on whether we're going to be drawing in third angle orthographic projection or first angle. So we've got the front and the side, or the end and the side view. If we kind of essentially rotate them like this, in this kind of motion, and we've got a connecting corners and space in between, that's third angle. If we have this view and then we rotate or kind of push it back, it's going to be it is going to be a first angle. So Australasia, Europe, definitely the UK, use third angle orthographic projection, and in America it's far more common to use first angle. So I'm just going to be focusing on first angle orthographic projection. This is the symbol that if you were doing a formal drawing, a ruled or computer generated orthographic projection, you would add this symbol onto your drawing to help communicate that you have chosen to draw and lay out your orthographic projection in third angle format as opposed to first angle. I'm going to create an orthographic projection of this mug to show you how I would create this. The reason is because it's very similar to this form here. They're even very similar in proportion and size, and it allows me to show you how we're going to see hidden and we're going to see real edges. So we're going to flatten this. We're going to think about a plan, a front view, and a side elevation or a front elevation. I am going to be drawing in a blue line just so that my camera can see and pick up the colour a bit better than a pencil. But if you are freehand sketching an orthographic projection of an object, you may be doing this in pencil. So I'm trying to draw out a square that I can do my circle in. I'm not going to be super accurate because I'm going to try to draw this with reasonable speed so we can carry on with the other elements of this drawing, and I'm going to draw out a handle which already is not the right proportions for my object. So that's enough information for me to then set out this is the plan view and its proportions, and I've put enough space below on my page to have space, a gap, and to be able to establish the front view. So essentially I'm going to take this view and I'm going to fold it down, where I'm imagining that this is made up of it's sitting inside a plastic box, and I've traced the outline on the plastic box, and I'm unfolding the plastic box and putting that onto the page. So this surface here connects or is closer to this object, to this view, than this back surface. So I'm not going to draw this view here. I'm going to draw this view. And that's also because I'm projecting that information down the handles here. So the handle's going to be on this side. I have to add in a new dimension, the height, to make that decision. And then I'm going to take some more other information that the handle's below the rim and it's below the base and it's got a shape to it. It connects to the mug in a certain way and it has some depth to it. Oh, but I've done it flat. I needed to put in my angle, and this distance needs to be symmetrical or have symmetry from that side, so we're going to have to modify that handle. So I'm drawing everything lightly because I might have to make modifications. And then from this corner here, which is the kind of connection between the center elevation or front view and the edge of the plan, I'm going to do a 45-degree line. Because if I take all of these bits of information, I can take them through the 45-degree line, and where they intersect, they're going to change direction and go vertical. And then I can evenly, if I'm doing this by ruler, of course it's far more accurate, I can take that information down, transfer it through that 45, because it doesn't get distorted when it goes horizontal to vertical through a 45-degree line. That distance and that distance remains the same. I've transferred that information and that distance so I can locate my handle here. I'm going to take this information because my design has symmetry so that I can do my little wedge. And in a moment I'm going to darken in these views so you can see them. So we've got a plan view here. I'm going to call this the front elevation and the end elevation. We always label below our views. It's a rule essentially that we use as designers, and it helps to keep that language the same across drawings that other people do. So every time we look for a label, we know that the relating drawing is above it, okay? So it kind of captions the drawing rather than the title being above. So it's, but you know, in magazines and books and online, the caption often is below an image. So just keep with that that rule and you will be good. I'm going to outline my view so you can see how things connect a bit more. There is some hidden edges within these two views especially that we could communicate through the use of a dashed line. So, for example, there is that rim that I've communicated here, or the thickness of the vessel itself. And you know, potentially the base of this cup has like a hollow or a dip on the inside, which is common with ceramics, that you could show. So you would put in a dashed line, which would be lighter than the dark outline, but darker than your construction line, which is my blue line. And you can help to express more of the form, and we would also project that information and show that in here as well. And just helps to express the complexity within this design that is not on the outer edges. There's also, we can show that the handle itself, the shape of it is rounded in here, but from this view we can't, in that view we cannot see that. If you're going to be doing a formal drawing, you also add in, this is called a reference line, and that pattern helps to express where one plane or one view starts and where another finishes. So this is a vertical plane and this is a vertical plane, or a vertical viewpoint, but they are different to each other, okay? And this horizontal plane or horizontal viewpoint is different to this one, so that helps to separate the views. But if you're sketching on a quick idea and you want a front and a side view, you don't necessarily have to have that, but you definitely have to have projection and alignment between the two views. So I'm hoping that that little introduction to an orthographic projection helps you to express and draw 2D viewpoints of a 3D form to help show its complexity and its detail.